BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Hi, welcome to Raw. My name's Dave and I'm an archivist here at the BBC. And over the last year or so, I've unearthed a collection of interviews with some of the biggest names in music from the last 4 decades, some of which have never been heard in full, until now. On this episode...
We cannot afford to adopt a philosophy that rejects us.
Now this is quite the 40-odd minutes. It's the March of 1990 and Public Enemy are finally set to release the album Fear of a Black Planet. An album that is so dense with messages on racism, rebellion and revolution that you can almost hear Chuck D trying to piece it all together again during this interview. Thankfully for him and us, Flav is on hand to blaze straight through all that and provide the same energy that makes the band so amazing to listen to, both on record and on stage. There are some strong themes around race and American culture discussed in this episode, so consider that a polite warning, as we are about to go head first into the mind of Chuck D at what must have been a very intense time for him.
Can you still lay back a bit off the mic?
Mm-hmm.
Would it be easier for us to move the mic?
That's cool.
Okay, you all right?
Yeah, I'll move back.
Okay, let's talk about the record. Okay.
Yeah, hey, I'm here. You know, like see, it took me a long, and you should definitely put this on there. It took me a long time. Well, after recording for about a month and a half or 2 months, I yell and I curse a lot, and I'm really kind of getting back to the way of speaking properly, the way I'm supposed to. But that won't kick back until maybe 3 weeks from now, because it takes a while to adapt back to normal speaking after, you know,
interview speak.
After kicking it on the block, you know, because I have to live, you know, I live the life of the people I communicate to, you know, in St. Louis or Houston.
Can I ask a question, though? What is a normal way of speaking or a proper way of speaking?
Speaking without cursing.
But then again, who says a curse is a curse? It's nothing but a word. There's no good words and there's no bad words.
Yeah.
To me, words are words. And, you know, words get points across. You know what I'm saying? As long as you can get that point across, yo, that was a good word to use, man.
Yeah, but you gotta have respect. You gotta have respect for rules too.
But it's all respect, yo. And in order to get a point across, that point is it's respected.
Flavor, it's like playing a basketball game. You get its rules. You want to get the point. You want to get the basket, right?
Yeah.
You could get in your car and drive to the basket, but that's against the rules.
Might be traveling.
You out here. You got to dribble the ball and go to the basket.
Yeah.
All right.
But you know what? The whole point is making that basket.
Yeah, but if you drive and you go, you violate it.
But at least you made the basket.
All right, here we go.
That's the bum rush.
That's the bum rush.
Bum rush the basket, man. Okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah, because you know, see what it is like, you know, it's like we like to spark the interest, and people, you know, it's like people out there have been studying for years and years and years and years. And what we do is spark the curiosity. So what Fear of a Black Planet is just a brief summary, and then people will go on and be able to search out the people that have studied this for fact for years. And Public Enemy, as far as Chuck D, I'm not no fantastic. I haven't, you know, learned, you know, and taught for years and years and learned for years and years like people out there that have written books. All we do is spark the curiosity so people could look into it themselves. And that's basically what we are, dispatches of information. Because, you know, there's people that have put in years of research into this, and I think they should check it out. What we are, we're rap artists, and we challenge you, and we want you to challenge yourself. And that's basically what it boils down to. Okay. And we want you also to rock.
And we do.
Yeah, well.
Boy, y'all do. I ain't gonna lie about that. That's what, man, I enjoy every time I come over here to England, man, to Europe, period. Because Europeans rock the house.
Okay.
So it's a challenge. It's a challenge, really, to make something that rock, to make something that sounds like it's just dope on the block, but still has a lot of meat behind it, you know, and it takes a lot of work. I spent a year with it, and I recorded in a month, but believe me, everything is broken down to real fine points.
moving straight into a load of things I want to ask you about yourself and the group. One of the things I think that's a main point about yourself and the band is that whether people agree with what you have to say or not, obviously lyrically, you're very, very thought-provoking. Now, the result of this is you seem to have an endless war with the media, whether you have to keep on going, justifying yourself and explaining yourself. And I'm surprised after 3 years you've kept it up.
Yeah, well, I think that's part of our objective is just to defend what we feel and what we think is right, you know. We also love to do is just make sure that we're progressive in our concept, progressive in our lyrics, and also progressive in our music. So, you know, keeping it up is just a matter on staying on top and doing your thing. Number one, as a black man in our situation, and also number two, musically. Right. Because we are bridging the gap, putting two things together, a movement and also musical interests.
When you first formed the group, did you call them Public Enemy in anticipation of what might end up happening with a media battle or something like that?
Yeah.
Where did the name come from?
Well, the Public Enemy was basically a statement saying that all the other rappers were after my neck, you know. And then later on in 1986, when I decided to do some recording, you know, we linked it up with a movement that we had spearheaded in our community. The bunch of us, Hank Shockley, Bill Stepney, Professor Griff, Flavor Flav, Terminator X, all of us worked, you know, together in one way or another, leading our community. And we all worked together on this particular project. It started by Hank Shockley, Bill Stepney, and myself.
And you're all still together, of course?
Yeah, myself, Hank, and Bill.
So what is your belief of the Nation of Islam? The reason I asked you is because, you know, as I said before, this is the first time you've spoken to us as a network, so I wanted you to tell the kids.
Well, this is the first time I spoke in Europe for about a year and a half, because I didn't want them to get no news that was incomplete, so I let them figure out what they had to figure out on their own. We said don't believe the hype, so a lot of hype that was coming over was definitely not justified. You know, for example, they were saying that the situation that the split happened because we broke away from Nation of Islam beliefs. We all have strong beliefs in the Nation of Islam. It's every single one of us. And the Nation of Islam and Minister Farrakhan is not the monster that the press or the people over here perceive them to be. You know, but if you never have people or organization prove what they're about, and you get it through second or third hands, you know, you're always going to be distant, especially when it comes to the re-education of black people and the rebuilding of the black man and woman in America. And you're always going to get some kind of distorted perspective, you know. But I like to say that even in America right about now, Minister Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam has gotten a lot of media coverage and TV time in the last 2 weeks. And he has shown and proven to the people of America, black and white, that his game plan economically and also a philosophical approach has been definitely straight on the up and up, and it makes so much common sense that it hits people for the first time like, wow, it's really an intelligent program that this man has, and he's speaking from a point that I've never been able to see that point explained to me as well. Okay,
I want to I'll probably read it to you actually. To be perfectly frank, obviously I know your music very, very well, but when I knew I was actually going to get to talk to you, I did as much research as I possibly could, and I read an awful lot.
Like, this was supposed to be a loose thing, but like I said...
But, well, it will be when we stop talking about
like
this.
A thesis.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably the deepest that a rap record has gone.
You bet.
And it deals with a lot of people's beliefs, and even a lot of brothers and sisters out there, they don't even know that this will even play around with their beliefs. Right. You know, and basically what it is that it's respect and knowledge and understanding of their culture and self, so we can understand that we do have a reason to respect ourselves, so we can give respect and gain respect. But the system doesn't say, okay, you get the respect after we give it up. You know, we're going to force that respect to come on to us, because we're going to tell people that you have to acknowledge your past, acknowledge your history.
Right. Now, why do you think now, after quite a long period of pressure, why do you think the system in America hasn't adapted at all to education of black history?
Well, I don't think they've adapted because everybody's caught up in the rut of trying to keep up with the Joneses and keep something flowing that hasn't been flowing too well over the last 10 to 15 years. Black people want to learn about themselves. We have to learn about ourselves on our own and search for our history. It's not going to be presented to us. But you see, in black culture, what's happening now is that a lot of the young white Americans are also going towards black culture because they want to learn more about it and they want to learn more about the truth. And like they say, the truth will set you free and will bring people together automatically, you know, and that's the thing about it that's probably scaring off a lot of the aristocrats that's in the top echelon, quote unquote, of American society, is that their kids are saying, hey, listen, I just want to know more about black people. I want to know about this culture that's been kept away from me, whether that be the United States or the UK or Europe. I think people are always curious to search out the truth after they've been told a lot of lies, because in the end result, if they're caught up in a situation that they don't understand, a lie won't do anything but hurt them.
So are you saying then you think the corner's finally been turned? Do you think that white America is changing its attitude? I
think it's changing slowly but surely, but it's always going to be a struggle. It's always going to be a fight because there's always two sides, and the two sides are right and wrong and good and evil.
We trying to break down all of this separatism and everything, you know what I'm saying? And there's been a lot of hate built up between races and colors through the years, but that was only upon belief. So we're trying to knock these beliefs down and trying to get everybody to come together as one, because we all are one people, you know what I'm saying?
Which brings us up to the album.
Yeah.
And as we go through tracks, no doubt we'll go back to these kind of subject matters, because I know some of this stuff, you know, crops up on the album tracks. You mentioned the re-education of the black man earlier on, which I believe is a kind of a loose synopsis of what you're heading for on Fear of a Black Planet. Is that right?
Right, exactly. You know, we're not so much educators, but we're spark plugs. That, you know, education starts with the interest factor in a person. Once he's interested, then he or she starts to begin learning process, whether it's searching for history or accepting a certain bit of history and then dissecting it with his or her opinion. Fear of a Black Planet is also speaking on the fact that there's a lot of history that's hidden under the dirt. The whole key is that if we all to come together, we got to knock down some of these beliefs that's still going around. The re-education of the black man and woman just says that, okay, 90% of this planet is non-white or non-European Caucasian or whatever. But at the same time, this 90% of the planet does not control 90% of the planet. So in order to adhere to God's law, we feel that, you know, like, all right, listen, if this is supposed to be the planet that everybody's supposed to respect, 100% of the planet is supposed to share 100% of the planet. And whether the cultures are mixed or whatever, there shouldn't be a dominant culture to say, okay, this is our thing, and then we're going to walk away or destroy you if you're not into our thing. You know, it's never been like that. So basically what it is the adoption of the Afrocentric viewpoint over the Eurocentric viewpoint, whereas we as I guess non-whites would have to say it hasn't been beneficial to non-whites because it's not been a sharing one. It's not been a fair viewpoint and a collective viewpoint that's been adopted by most of the people in the world and not for their benefit. And it's a collective viewpoint. And it was Eurocentricity versus Afrocentricity. And Afrocentricity, basically it says, listen, everybody comes from the original man in Africa. So everybody is as one. So let's all get together as one instead of talking about it. Let's do something about it. You know, because in America, we're mixed up so many different ways, but we're still all black. Yeah. You know, and we're all black. Number one, we was taught by and told by an institution that we was black because you're not white, so damn you. So, you know, as the years went on, we still adopt the principle of, you know, okay, nah, that shouldn't take place, and that's the original white man's principle. But, you know, like even looking at that situation, is that certain things have taken place where a person would have an interracial situation, but he would adopt the let's say the Eurocentric values in order to have that relationship instead of maintaining his own values, and somebody saying, okay, we understand that the Eurocentric, the Afrocentric values are one of more sharing, and we can work together and we can get together, as the Eurocentric values are like, all right, okay, you're together, but you're not, What
about the reverse, though?
The reverse about what?
Anything white mixed with black, then black is unpure.
I have a DJ.
No.
I have a DJ whose mother's German and father's from West Virginia who's black, and my DJ is black. That's Terminator X.
What I mean in the reverse, the dilution thing. There's
black. Wait, first of all, the genetic theory that the black gene is first of all is dominant and the white gene is recessive. There's no such thing as dilution. Anyway, you still have a human being out of the union.
The pot, as it were.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And all this is a respect for the human race. And what we've been saying all along is that the Eurocentric point of view has no respect for the human race. I mean, the black race has always been one of Afrocentric values, which says, what you are is what you are. Let's share the planet the way it's supposed to be. Ain't that how God planned it?
Right.
And that's what probably one of Cracker deals. It deals with just relationships and how we look at relationships as we were taught racism in a racist systematic system or whatever.
Okay.
That's why if there was equality in all races and we understood each other. Come on, man, do you know how much less confusion there would be than all of the confusion that there is right now? You know what I'm saying? That's what we're about right now, trying to bring all of this together, you know what I'm saying? And, we can't do it all by ourselves, so that's why we come out and we do our concerts and we try to teach people, you know what I'm saying, to get everybody to help us.
I think when the statements are said, that the black man is the original man, it's not a statement that just says, okay, now we're going to rule the world. No, what it is just says that this just has to be acknowledged to try to counterbalance that the black man has been nothing historically, hasn't made any contributions, hasn't done this to put the world in the situation progressively to where it is now, as far as a progressive plus, and the black man's a little bit more than that. Everybody's developed out of the black seed in Africa, and once that acknowledgement takes place, then a respect level will kick in, from the so-called, 10% of the people that dominate the world under that particular belief. It's look, it's past the complexions thing. The complexion thing doesn't even count.
Yeah.
To black people. It's like, look, you could get two dark-skinned black people, and they could produce a light-skinned person that's white, that has blue eyes and blonde hair. Genetics will allow that. So it's past all that complexion. What this is in a system that dogs us in this Western world, we cannot afford to adopt a philosophy that rejects us and has rejected and dogged us historically. So what it is, we can't adopt a Eurocentric point of view because a Eurocentric point of view is not a shared loving one historically. The Afrocentric point of view is that 90% of the planet is the way we are, is what we are, and you got some and I got some. I mean, that's how life was best lived in Africa. And that lifestyle should have been perpetrated right throughout the world and followed through, but it hadn't. Like I said, man is also victim to evils, and he will, try to have a quest for power. And historically, the European had done best to try to take over the world in the best way he could, and for the sake of capitalism or imperialism or communism or whatever, had stepped into other lands and where he was clearly out of bounds.
This is a letter out of a paper,
right.
And it's the result of an interview that you did.
Right.
It was published in Time Out 2 weeks ago, which is a London magazine.
Okay.
So the letter comes out of last week's issue, which is so it's only a week old, basically.
Okay.
And the letter here is from a Jewish woman who's married to an African.
Right.
Now, she goes on to say, I'm definitely for black people with a high profile, even if it means prancing menacingly about on stage with plastic Uzis, blah, 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 okay?
Right.
But then she goes on to say, on a personal level, how is what Public Enemy say going to affect my daughter when she grows up? Will she have to reject part of herself in order to be accepted by the other half, or do Public Enemy reckon that in her case the purity of their race has been polluted, i.e. a Jewish African
I don't think
union.
No. The purity of the black race can never be polluted. Only the mindset of the black race could be polluted if we believe that our blackness is wrong. And that's about it. To me, and this is just a personal belief, that religion is a belief that you adopt. It's not what you are. You know what I'm saying? What she's going to be looked at is a black girl that's mixed with somebody, with something. She's not going to be looked. See, if I was to walk through the door, you wouldn't know if I was Jewish unless I told you. Or you wouldn't know that I was Catholic or Christian unless I told you. True or false?
True.
And you'll judge me for my visual characteristics, and you'll say, you're a black guy that walked through the door. Just like I would come in and I'd say, you're a white guy that's sitting down. Now, you would have to wear something like a cross around your neck in order for me to say, oh, you must be Catholic or you must be Christian. You know what I'm saying? That's a adoption of a belief. You know, so her daughter has nothing to worry about as long as she should choose and pick whatever way she wants to praise God, as long as it's on the righteous path. And I think, you know, I have a song called War at 33 and a Third, which talks about religions all being man-made. Religion is God, but religions are man-made. So that always casts a shadow of doubt over all of them being right, because a lot of them are juxtaposed against each other, and a lot of them
are hybrid.
Right, and a lot of them are hybrid. A lot of them have loopholes which don't agree with each other, and some of them do agree and don't agree. So all these are created by man, so everything leaves a shadow of a doubt. But in a system that especially has a Eurocentric point of view and has a racist point of view, you're judged by your characteristics.
Okay. And
that's kind of unfair, because Afrocentric values never judged you like that. So to her daughter is by this system and is black, without a doubt. You know, and she should know that the knowledge of yourself is self-defense against a system that's going to beat you down.
Polly Wanna Cracker vaguely deals with that, doesn't it? Relationships where you're saying that neither side likes interracial relationships.
Yeah, well, basically it was looked even from a black point of view, whereas racism was taught to us in America from an institution, from a white institution. So in the black neighborhoods, even if a black guy or black woman was to go with a white guy or white woman, you know, the neighborhood, people in the neighborhood say, nah, they went out. You know, it's not supposed to be like that, but that racism got taught to us. Do
I then make the assumption that you'd be a lot happier if there was racial equality?
Of course, instead of people talking about it, it should be. I don't know what you would consider yourself. Maybe you would consider yourself white, but if you had a black wife, what would you consider your daughter or son?
That's a tough question.
Would you let society tell you what your son or daughter was, or would you state what your son and daughter would be?
Honestly, don't know.
Well, see, it's fear of a black planet. See, the whole thing about it is that the fear of a black planet is a collective paranoia of Eurocentric believing system that says that anything black makes white impure if it mixes with it.
Let me just add on to, right, personally myself, I'm glad too that there are a lot of white people now trying to learn about black culture, you know what I'm saying? And, I feel that the more that white people learn about black culture, they can really dig deep down into the situation on why black people have attitudes that the way that we do have, you know what I'm saying? And they'll really get to understand why we have these attitudes, and they'll probably say, well, hey, I can understand why they have these attitudes, but let's try to, pull things together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we all do got to come together some time or another, you know what I'm saying? We all are one people anyway, you know what I'm saying? We all are sisters and brothers, regardless what race, creed, color, nationality you come from, you know what I'm saying? But it's been so much separatism built up during the years to where everything is so separate now, you know what I'm saying? To where it's hard to bring together. We know that time changes. And people do change with time, you know what I'm saying? But then again, sometimes you got to stay the same. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Me, I ain't changing. People love me the way that I am, you know what I'm saying? And, I think, if I made a drastic change, then, people might take me different because I'll confuse a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? But this is just to show people, too, that you don't have to change on people. Mainly people that love you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If you find people that love you, you give them your love back. You know what I'm saying? You don't go change on them. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, for myself, I want to stay the same. You know what I'm saying? Just to let everybody know, as long as y'all know me, I've been the same way, and I ain't changing. And I ain't made no change. Ever since you met me before, have I changed to you?
No.
And I ain't changing, Holmes. But I did change, though, for the better, because time changes. So I got to change with time. I ain't got no choice, you know what I'm saying? And plus, my age changes. I get older. You know what I'm saying? Everybody asks me, hey, Flav, how old are you? Old enough to kick these lyrics to you, Holmes.
Also, what it boils, what it boils down to is expansion on our show, doing some different things.
Because surely during that time, you must have felt at some stage maybe 6 months in Jamaica would have been better for your mental health than going through all the garbage that you went through.
No, well, I don't let this get to my mental health at all. You know what I'm saying? I got a pretty stable mind, and I can get away from something by just turning my head.
Okay, let's open up and talk about the single 911 is a Joke. Flavor, what's it about?
All right, back in America, our emergency system number is called 911. All right, if there's an emergency, you run to your telephone and you dial 911, and emergency vehicles are right there on the spot. You know what I'm saying? They're right there on the spot. But in certain black neighborhoods, the emergency vehicles don't take their time coming. But in a white neighborhood, oh man, they're there quick as a flash. If you find a person on the street that's stabbed, you call 911. They supposed to be there on the scene real quick so that person don't lose too much blood. But then they take their time coming, and the longer that they take coming, the more blood that this person gets to lose, to where, sometimes people ended up dying because 911 was late. So instead of calling the ambulance, you'd be better off calling the morgue truck.
Do you think if someone's been shot, they're frightened to show up?
Well, I ain't going to say they're frightened to show up, but I know they're going to be real late showing up, and the more blood that person is losing, the more closer he is to death. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, instead of calling an ambulance, you call a morgue truck. When they bring that stretcher, they put you on a stretcher to put you in the ambulance. Yo, in disguise, that stretcher is really a body bag, because the person's going to end up dying on the stretcher. You know what I'm saying?
Open plan body bag.
Yeah, so I say it's a body bag in disguise. Latecomers, because they always coming late. Latecomers with a late-coming stretcher. That's a body bag in disguise, y'all. I'll bet you. Then I call them body snatchers because they come to fetch you with an autopsy ambulance just to dissect you. See, that means that they coming with this ambulance, and all they want to do, they can't wait to get you in there. You know what I'm saying? And they start cutting all up on you and everything. And, that's malpractice. Instead of, cutting around where the bullet is, the bullet could be in your heart. They trying to cut your foot off to see what type of veins to make up your foot. You know what I'm saying? That type of stuff, man.
Okay, listen.
So that's what 911 is really about. Get up or get down. 911 is joking your town. 911 wears the late crown. So that means they've been crowned for being late. They're the king of being late.
While you're flowing now, how do you view your contribution to PE?
My contribution to PE is a big one because I help get the point across. If you don't really understand what Chuck is saying lyrically, I try to act out as much as possible as what he says.
That's like the interplay in the tracks, right?
Right.
Okay.
But then again, too, I play the part of an urban street character that'll drive you up the wall. You don't know when to stop. He don't never get enough. But he'll never disrespect you. He'll never hurt you. And he's always trying to teach you the way of perfection, because that's my direction. If there's any type of mistakes, I'll try to make the correction.
Now, what I'm going to say to you is not derogatory, okay? You must understand this. But what I was going to say is that what you both write is obviously very serious. But sometimes...
Life is serious.
Yeah. But
no
sometimes
joke.
on the record and live, it's like almost you're the light relief side of all the seriousness. There's all this seriousness going on, and then occasionally Flav's in there with a backup and a laugh and a thing, and it's like,
let me say
why
this.
are you the lighter side? It's
let me say this, all right? Life is a very serious situation. Life is a game that everybody must play. You ain't got no choice but to play this game, and you either win or you lose. So, you know, Chuck, he's the serious side of life. You ain't gonna never really catch Chuck joking, not unless you be on the bus with us and we riding from town to town or something. We cracking jokes with each other, but come on, man. Everybody's gotta laugh. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna catch him laughing too much. Not when he's serious.
Yeah.
If somebody's serious all the time and never laughing, something's wrong. But if somebody's always laughing all the time and never serious, something's wrong. So, you know, that's why I try to break up that monotony right there, you know what I'm saying, of being serious all the time. But then again, another contribution that I give to PE is when we're doing our shows, and instead of just constantly watching Chuck, I try to keep you busy. That's why I wear white, because I stand out. I try to keep you busy. I try to keep you moving. So that way, you know, Chuck's side and my side makes up all sides.
Now, that's what I was going to move on to. The thing about, you know, we all know that what you write is deep in thought. Do you get embarrassed by other rap acts when you listen to some of the lyrics that they write?
Nah, I don't get embarrassed. I'm a rap fan. You got to understand. I'm
a rap fan, but sometimes I listen to some of the lyrics and I think, oh, man, that is so inane. Surely somebody could have written something better than that.
You know what, though? The way people write, too,
is the way they look at life, and the way they talk, the way they deal with it.
And the way that they live their lives, you know what I'm saying? I don't knock what a person do.
Right.
It's not what you do, it's how you do it. Everybody that writes, hey, they're coming from their heart, you know what I'm saying? So you don't knock another person's heart or their feelings, not unless it's all negative and it's teaching people negative, then that's when I'm going to come in and I'm going to knock it.
It's like people used to talk about a good singer or a bad singer. What's a bad singer? The person's singing, he's singing, or she's singing. You know, if the people like the way he or she sings, then that's a good singer. You know, just like a lot of rappers out there, if they're 15 and 16-year-old, they're going to rap the way a 15 and 16-year-old in their particular neighborhood and environment is going to rap.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. What's a good singer and what's a bad singer? Well, I'm going to show you an example. I'm not no singer because they say I sing bad, but I can do good at singing bad.
You know him and Biz Markie going to do it.
Roasting in my microwave.
It's spring again. Him and Biz doing it spring again.
Yeah, right. Him and Biz are going to do it.
Yeah, me and Biz was talking about doing the do it and everything, you know what I'm saying? But not only that, my goal one day is to do records with everybody, even ones that hate me, because that shows a form of unity, show that things can come together. You know what, I'm going to tell you something. There's a group in America that hates us, a group called Guns N' Roses, right? Oh, man, these guys hate us. But you know what? One day, I want to do a record with them. Because, see, little do Guns N' Roses know, hey, those are our brothers, too. But they will never want to be our brothers because of what they believe and stand for. But I would like to do a record with them one day just to show the whole world that we can knock out hate, man, and become good with each other one day. You know what I'm saying? Become, you know, form a thing of unity. On this coming Flavor Flav album, I'm going to take rap and I'm going to converse it with opera, boy, now. Now, what y'all think about that?
With opera.
That's right, with opera.
You're going to become the Malcolm McLaren of the rap world, right?
I'm going to mix rap music with opera, and it's never been done before, and Flavor's going to be the first to do it. You watch.
Okay, let me ask you some general stuff, okay? Do you think LA rap is kicking New York at the moment?
I think, see, this is one thing about over here in England and in Europe in particular, like a lot of the critics, I think that there's been a lot of critics and there's been a lot of writers and too many adults trying to dictate what the people in the streets want to hear. They only know about London, L.A., and New York. I mean, this is one thing about hip-hop, that the hotbeds move a lot quicker than they happen to think they move. Once upon a time it was L.A., but then it shifted up to Oakland. Now it's really in Houston and places like Atlanta and Indianapolis and Chicago. You know, it's just that these acts haven't been recorded as much as the L.A. groups and the Oakland groups have been, and the New York groups. So about the L.A. and New York scene is that LA is a hotbed because the people out there are well educated on rap. They have a 24-hour-a-day rap station called K-Day, which is the best station in the world.
And
they
rock.
And they play rap all day long. So if you're able to hear music about your trade or whatever, you can basically know who's doing what. So you can find that void to do not what other people are doing. They don't have that in New York, and they don't really have that in too many other places. But in the places that they do have a informational, educational rap source like that, it does help the people in that area to come up with more ingenuity as far as rap product.
Let me ask you something. On Reggie Jacks, you make a comment about Soul to Soul, our beloved heroes.
Well, Soul to Soul.
Well, I think that...
Soul to Soul is a happy face.
Yeah.
Loving face for a loving race.
I think
that's my boy.
I think the philosophy in the group and then Jazzy B just adds up to, what we all are about, bringing this thing together. And also, the name of the group is like, you talk to people with sincerity. You come from the heart. Yeah. And if you come from the heart, you're able to reach other people's heart, then that, you got a straight, undeniable line of communication. That's what it's about. Communication could definitely break down a lot of barriers. And, like they say, positive education always corrects errors, which is on the LAD album. So, that's one guideline to go by. And, Soul to Soul is the best way that you can open up the avenues of communication. And in that particular song, I opened it up that way, and at the end, I dedicated to Ice-T and the Ghetto Boys, two groups that had songs dedicated to the
PE. They stuck out for you.
Yeah, right. So, I do my shout back to them.
What about the, how much time have we got, Mike? How much time have we got? We got a little longer?
Hey, yo, man, guess what I'm going to do in the morning, man?
Go on.
Y'all know what I'm going to do in the morning? Yo, I'm going to wake up in the morning, right? Now, check this out. You know that I be wearing these clocks, right? So, to me, my clocks get their solar energy from Big Ben, and Big Ben always been my boy, you know what I'm saying? And every time I come to England, I always go to Tower Bridge. I always have my friends, Tim Westwood, my friend Denise and them, right? Always take me to Tower Bridge, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to perform a feat in the morning. I'm gonna catch a cab to Buckingham Palace, right? And I'm gonna jog from Buckingham Palace to Big Ben Clock Tower and to straight to Tower Bridge and do all of that without stopping. I just want to...
You're not a fitness man, surely?
I ain't a fitness man, but these are my places, man. These are my favorite spots, and I want to run to my favorite spots without stopping. And I'm going to do it. That's one of my goals, you know what I'm saying? Plus, I'm going to be one of the first people from the rap music business ever to go from Big Ben,
through London,
from Buckingham Palace to Big Ben at Tower Bridge. Boy, I'm going to do it in the morning, G.
Okay.
Watch. Yo, can I just say something, man?
Yeah.
To everybody that's listening to this radio show right now on the BBC. This is the BBC, right?
You got it, man.
I got it, man. All right, well, check this out, though. All jokes aside, right, I just want to say that everybody that's been listening to this Public Enemy radio show right here on the BBC, everything that we've covered is based on reality. You know what I'm saying? And reality is something that every morning we wake up, we open our eyes, we must face it. You know what I'm saying? We can't hide or run away from it. You know what I'm saying? Because reality is real, because real is fact. And whatever is identical, that means it's exact. And there's nothing in the world identical. You know what I'm saying? But everything that we spoke on is real. You know what I'm saying? And even if you say that we spoke on something fake, that's real too. Because everything that's fake is real. And the reason why I say that is because it's real fake shit. Let
me ask you one last thing about the album.
Well, see me, I'm gonna express everything that I'm basically about, or that I've basically ever been about through my life. Which before I became, a rap artist, I was a musician, which I still am a musician, you know what I'm saying? I can still play my instruments, Like Chuck said, which no exaggeration. I play over 14 different instruments, and, a lot of instruments that I play, I was self-taught. You know what I'm saying? You know, I play by ear. You know what I'm saying? You know, and, you know, when I make my album, you know, which I'm working on now, but when I finish my album, it's going to basically be built up of everything I do. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I write songs. You know what I'm saying? Outside of just rap songs, but I write R&B songs too. You know, I can sing a little something. You know what I'm saying? You know, which I'm not gonna give up no real demonstrations now. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Chuck, what you smiling about, man? But anyway, you know, y'all be surprised exactly what Flavor does.
Sing a little bit about the ring. Just two sentences.
Huh?
The ring.
Y'all, come on, Chuck, man. See, one thing about my boy Chuck, day. Right? When you're at Brixton Academy, you are on the spot. But now we only here at Radio 1. He's trying to put me on the spot. Chuck, man, come on, man.
All right, listen, we won't keep you on the spot anymore. Thanks very much for coming in. Seriously, I know you're racked. When will you tour next?
Well, we'll probably come around maybe in October or maybe November for a 3-week stand because I like to come to Europe for 3 weeks. I can't take 4 weeks because I can't be away from the States for more than 3 weeks. So I like coming over here, 3-week stints.
Hey, yo, you know what's the biggest story in the United States now? Flavor Flav has a car accident, right? Yeah. Guess whose car I wrecked?
Whose?
My boy Ice-T. He's got a $200,000 Ferrari. Hey,
and
look,
you wrecked it?
Look, let me show you, man.
Oh, man.
I got a piece of his taillight right here.
I don't believe it.
And a paint chip from his car.
Oh, man.
That's right.
Living
right here.
Did you tell him? Did you tell him before you came here that you happened to wreck his car?
No.
Nah, man.
He doesn't know?
While he was in it. Now, what did Ice say? What did Ice tell you?
Yo, Ice looked at me, and he said, he looked at the dent first of all, right? I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm sitting there. Listen, I rented this LeBaron, right? It was a LeBaron from the airport, and he's got a $200,000 Ferrari. So I said, Ice, man, come on, you cross in front of me, because we all going to Red Lobster, right, to have some dinner and everything, right?
See, he drives in a convertible standing up, so I wasn't there, but that's probably what was happening, right? Yup. See?
He was standing up in
I was
car.
in the studio with Ice Cube, and I heard about it. I was like, shook my head.
So how'd you crash the car?
Anyway, I said, Ice, cross in front of me, right? So as soon as Ice crossed in front of me, I wasn't looking. I just smashed on the gas pedal. Heard Terminator go, yo, 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 bam, right? I looked at that dent in the car, man. I said, ugh, right? Yo, man, Ice-T got out the car. And when he was getting out the car, I thought he was going to break my neck, man. Looked at the thing. He said, oh, Flav, it's not but a dent. Don't worry about it. I bet she got back in the car and said, this white on it, I'm going to kill this motherfucker. He said, yo, Flav, it's all right. Oh, I'm going to get you and everything, right? But I was like, whew. Yo, but you know what? If I was anybody else, Ice-T would have been in jail for murder.
Okay, you guys, that's
Hey, yo, BBT, thanks a lot, man. Y'all are on the money, man.
No problem.
I just want to say to everybody here in Europe, too, yo, I love y'all, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, y'all rock the house. I love the way that y'all, you know, dig deep down into music, you know what I'm saying? And mainly lyrics, because it's not all about the music. It's, you know, the lyrics really tell the story, and it teaches the story. So, hey, y'all just keep doing it, man.
Okay, so there you have it. Chuck D and Flavor Flav chatting with Jeff Young just before they released their 1990 album, Fear of a Black Planet.